Hey everyone, what does this remind you of? I'm Rich Lowry of National Review, and that was Gregory Bovino, the chief of Border Patrol, getting swarmed by anti-agitators in Minneapolis. And you know what that makes me think of a little bit? The French Revolution. Now, I'm not saying he's going to get torn limb by limb from a mob and get his head stuck on a pike and have his head paraded around the Twin Cities. At least let's hope not. But I think it's the French Revolution that represents the purest distillation of what mobs are really like in their most extreme form. And this is the event where, unfortunately, mobs had their greatest effect on the course of Western history. So what I want to do here, look a little at the French Revolution, develop some themes and points about mobs and what they're like, bring those forward, illustrate them with reference to Minneapolis, and then go on to some of the best thinking we've ever had about what mobs are and how they think, or very often don't think. So let's start with this horrible cataclysm that rocked France in the late 18th century, the French Revolution. Okay, we don't need to go into great detail about the French Revolution. The crucial point is that it was driven by mobs and by mob violence. Simon Schaumann, in his great classic book about the French Revolution called Citizens, makes the point the French Revolution didn't devolve into violence. It was defined by violence and by the work of mobs, pretty much from the very beginning, right? Storming of the Bastille. We still have Bastille Day celebrated in France. It's the work of a mob. And the governor of the Bastille is promised safe passage. A mob surges, captures him, beats him, kills him, beheads him, and takes his head, puts it on a pike, and parades it around the streets. Then you have the so-called Great Fear in 1789. Out in the countryside, the peasants think that there is an aristocratic plot to starve them deliberately. There is nothing to this. It is totally made up. It's based on rumor and paranoia, but it totally runs out of control, right? Everyone thinks, well, if the other people think there's this aristocratic plot, there must be an aristocratic plot. And those other people think, well, those guys think it, so we got to think it. It must be true. They think they're brigands roaming the countryside that have to be fought and resisted. So you have armed peasants in one village, then mistaking the peasants in the other village who've also taken up arms to fight these supposed brigands. They think they're the brigands. So this phenomenon totally disconnected from reality, but creates this massive spasm of disorganized mob violence. In 1792, you have the September massacres. Here, Prussia and Austria, France is at war at the time, Prussia and Austria are advancing, creates heightened tensions within France, understandably, but then this rumor starts that there's this fifth column, these internal enemies that are going to rise up and end the revolution and slaughter all the revolutionaries, and these prisoners that are going to do this. So what do we have to do? They're going to kill us. We got to go in the prisons first and kill them. And the mobs descend on the prisons. In the course of about 5 days, they killed more than 1,000 people. They set up these kangaroo tribunals that reach these instant verdicts about people based on nothing, on their name, on their accent, on their appearance. And it's another horrific event of the French Revolution. I mentioned appearance. The revolutionaries, of course, were known as sans-culottes. Culottes were knee breeches. They didn't wear knee breeches. They wore long trousers. And if you didn't wear the same thing, if you didn't look like them, if you didn't look the right way by their definitions, they were suspicious of you. They might come after you. Symbolism mattered a lot. You had to wear the tricolor cockade. And if you didn't, they were suspicious of you and they might come after you. So before we move on here, just want to focus in a little bit on what this violence, mob violence, looked like in a little more granular detail. Dickens had a great description in his classic novel about the French Revolution, A Tale of Two Cities. This is a passage about the killing of an unpopular official named Joseph Foulon, who was caught up in the paranoia about aristocrats supposedly plotting to starve the populace. This is what Dickens writes. This is when the mob realizes that it can get at Foulon. The men were terrible, and the bloody-minded anger with which they looked from the windows caught up what arms they had and came pouring down into the streets, but the women were a sight to chill the boldest. They ran out with streaming hair, urging one another and themselves to madness with the wildest cries and actions. Villain Falon, taken my sister. Old Falon, taken my mother. Miscreant Falon, taken my daughter. Then scores of others ran into the midst of these. Husbands and brothers and young men, give us the blood of Falon. Give us the head of Falon. Give us the heart of Falon. Give us the body and soul of Falon. Rend Falon to pieces and dig him into the ground, that grass may grow from him. Needless to say, it did not end well for Falon. He had supposedly said, by the way, that the people could eat grass, and they stuffed grass into his mouth as they were killing him. And afterwards, I just want to focus on one last example, because I just think the details are important to get at what we're really talking about here. Same time period, this is a historian describing an innocent baker caught up by the mob. His name was Francois. Francois was just commencing his 7th batch on that day when a woman who had been unable to procure bread at 9 in the morning and who was told to wait until the 7th batch was completed entered his house to assure herself that all the bread had really been sold. She found 3 stale loaves, which had been reserved for the men. She rushed to the street, holding one in her hand, loudly accusing the baker of only distributing a part of his stock. Riot began. He was accused of wishing to keep bread from the people. They burst into a shop, seized the unhappy man, and disregarding his cries, hanged him. They paraded his head on a pike through the streets, compelling every baker they met to kiss the remains. The unhappy wife of Francois, far advanced in pregnancy, running about in a state of distraction, met the crowd. At the sight of the bloody head, she fainted. The mob had the barbarity to lower it into her arms and press the lifeless lips against her face. Unspeakable cruelty. Again, of course, we're not seeing anything on that level in Minneapolis. But what have we learned through this brief description of mobs and how they operated in the French Revolution? Well, mobs are obsessed with seeking out and hunting down their enemies. They operate on the basis of suspicion, rumor, and paranoia. They are cruel. They want to intimidate people and make examples of them. They are violent and they are obsessed with symbolism. And we see every single one of these things in Minneapolis at the moment. Seeking out, hunting down their enemies, yes. Here's a clip of a mob going after a conservative in a car.
That's him! That's him! Is that him? Is that him? Yes! Open the door! Oh my God. Drug! Oh my God. Just drug! Stop! Wait, let them go! Let them go! Hey, pull over! Hey, leave it! Get out of here! Leave it up! Get out of here! No! Y'all just let him leave! It's not working!
Operating on the basis of rumor and paranoia, yeah, here they are going after a couple tech workers that they think are ICE agents at a cafe.
So clear. So clear.
Oh my God. What? We do custom apps for a whole bunch of companies around Minnesota and the country.
Why are you filming
Because you're filming us.
And here they are going after someone they suspect of being an ICE agent based on the car he's driving, and tell him, by the way, in the future to rent a different car because that vehicle is too counter-revolutionary and ICE-like.
Yeah, like I said, I don't have to do this. I'm happy to do this.
Yeah.
That's all. We just got to stop this.
So he's got a lot of camera equipment. I think we can say this isn't ICE.
Yeah, I'm not. I tried to tell the first lady, nobody believes me. That's all I can do is tell you. I already shot. Listen, first of all, I don't have to do any of that, but I'm kind. I respect what you are doing. Yeah, no. I really appreciate what you guys are doing. I just don't understand the job and I don't know how to do it.
Were you here yesterday?
Yeah.
Yes, he was here yesterday. I can testify that. I didn't recognize him.
No, I appreciate your help. Thank you.
I'm not here to help you.
No,
I think the fact that you're in a vehicle like this at this
I
time
get it. But with all due respect to everybody, I get a couple way drive.
Well, you can. You go rent something else.
Seeking to intimidate and demand assent to their agenda? Yeah. Here's a burly guy just walking down the street.
Where you going? Huh? Are you ICE? No. Do you like ICE? Say ICE! Say it! Say it, b****. You're a b****. Your mom's a b****. Say it!
Violent? Yeah, here they are knocking down a guy just suspected of being with ICE.
Wait a minute. Let him up. Let him up.
Police.
Let him up. Let him up. Let him up. Let him up. Let him up.
Okay.
Hey, get up. Get up.
Let him go. Get your ass up. You good? You're not nasty?
Okay.
That's all they ask.
Watch out. Watch out.
That's all they ask.
He's one of us.
Okay.
I'm one of them. He's one of us.
Okay, good.
I'm one of them. You all right, dude?
You all right? Come on.
He's one of us.
How do we know? How we know?
I was with him earlier.
Why you get ran out earlier?
I don't know. He's one of us.
I'm with them.
Here they are, manhandling and injuring right-wing activist Jake Lang. And here they are warring with ICE. Obsessed with symbols and trying to coerce people into conformity? Yep.
You're not going to. Take it off and you are hurt. Take it off. Take it off. He gave you a chance. There you go. I got you. You're good.
Get your ass up out of here.
Mobs. It's all right there. And as promised, let's consider very briefly the work of perhaps the greatest analyst of mobs, a French polymath named Gustave Le Bon. His life and career spanned late 19th, early 20th century, wrote a lot of books. One of them was called The Psychology of Revolution. And let's take a look at a passage from that. Whatever their origin, revolutions do not produce their full effects until they have penetrated the soul of the multitude. They therefore represent a consequence of the psychology of crowds. Man, as part of a multitude, is a very different being from the same man as an isolated individual. His conscious individuality vanishes in the unconscious personality of the crowd. The collective mind, momentarily formed, represents a very special kind of aggregate. Its chief peculiarity is that it is entirely dominated by unconscious elements and is subject to a peculiar collective logic. Among the other characteristics of crowds, we must note their infinite credulity and exaggerated sensibility, their short-sightedness, and their incapacity to respond to the influences of reason. By reason of the extreme sensibility of crowds, their sentiments, good or bad, are always exaggerated. This exaggeration increases still further in times of revolution. The least excitement will then lead them to act with the utmost fury. Their credulity, so great even in the normal state, is still further increased. The most improbable statements are accepted. These various characteristics show that man in the crowd descends to a very low degree in the scale of civilization. He becomes a savage with all a savage's faults and qualities. Just so, and that's why the likes of Tim Waltz and Jacob Fry need to call off what Le Bon called the savages. They need to tell the mobs to cease and desist and go home. I'm Rich Lowry, over and out.